with Tim Gilbert and Julie Snook. This is Racing Dreams.
Hello and welcome to Racing Dreams. What a special day we have coming up for you this morning. Of course, it is Golden Slipper Day, and that's where we find my mate Timmy Gilbert. Good morning to you, Tim. Rosehill Gardens looking absolutely sensational.
It is 5 Group 1.
All right, coming up this morning on the show, we take a look at the Golden Slipper history and hear from those chasing their chance at the 2-year-old race. One of those is Coolmore's Tom Magnier, who has 2 very strong contenders in this year's Slipper. He'll be joining me live very, very soon. Plus, Arrowfield is set for a massive day at Rosehill Gardens.
They absolutely are, and we're going to talk to John Freyer quite soon right here on Racing Dreams. But before that, they've already conducted the fashions on the field, and the winner of the men's section, ladies and gentlemen, is the racing editor of the Daily Telegraph, Ray Thomas. How are you, Ray?
Terrific, Tim. Pumped for today. It's one of the great days, not only in Australian racing, but world racing. As you said, Tim, 5 Group 1s. Nowhere else in the Southern Hemisphere is there one race meeting with 5 Group 1s. And, of course, Golden Slipper Day. It's been a magical week, and the track and the weather conditions perfect for today.
Life-changing day for many. Let's look at this Golden Slipper, because whether it's a colt or a filly, it doesn't really matter that much. Their whole value, their whole future changes completely. I suppose it does mean a bit more if you're
For a colt, yeah.
But cylinder, speaking of colts, $4.40, open field as to be expected.
Look, I think Cylinder's chances actually soared this morning with the unfortunate scratching of Red Resistance. For those viewers who haven't caught up with the news, Red Resistance unfortunately was found to have an elevated temperature this morning, Tim. So that is just shocking luck for Gai Waterhouse, Adrian Bott and the owners. Have had that horse in terrific form. He had drawn the outside barrier, Tim, so he was going to be the potential speed in the race. With him out, there's a couple of horses who'll go forward, but Cylinder from gate 3 is going to get the perfect run. His form is outstanding. He won the Silver Slipper. He won the Todman Stakes. He ticks a lot of boxes. I think he's a horse to beat. James
McDonald on board, and he had a nervous couple of days earlier in the week.
He did, but he had a bit of good fortune, getting his penalty for that careless riding suspension reduced, allowing him to ride on Golden Slipper Day. And he's got 3 of the 5 Group 1 favourites, including Cylinder and, of course, the champ Animo, who, I dare say it, Tim, if he wins the George Ride, will probably be the headline act for the day.
Oh, absolutely, Animo. And, of course, we spoke to James Cummings last week on the show, and they've got the plan all in place for him to finish up at Royal Ascot, and that would be quite an extraordinary finish. So what did you think of the barrier draw the other day for the Slipper? Yeah,
well, look, as I said, it's been turned on its head now with the scratching of Red Resistance, because he was going to zoom across from the outside. Look, I think a horse like Steel City will go forward. I think Gai Waterhouse and Adrian Bott's other runner, Platinum Jubilee, will go forward and look to lead. But again, I think the 2 favourites who are drawn 3 and 4, Cylinder and Learning to Fly, are going to get the gun runs. Now, I don't think there's a dominant 2-year-old this year, Tim, like a Sepoy or a Capitalist or a Farnan. It's a pretty even group, and I know it's a cliche, but luck and running is so vital. So given they're drawn so perfectly, you would expect Cylinder and Learning to Fly to get the gun runs. They keep winning. They're the horses to beat.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. What about a horse like Blanc de Blanc? Now, Blanc de Blanc has been getting wide gates, got another wide gate here at Rose Hill, and is right up there, placing in the Millennium, placing again last week.
Yeah. She's been mixing it with Learning to Fly, hasn't she? So if Learning to Fly is second favourite at about $7, Blanc de Blanc's about $21. Massively over the odds. Again, though, unfortunately, as you pointed out, Tim, she's drawn barrier 12. She has had 0 luck at the barrier draws. If she can find some cover, even though Red Resistance is out of this race, they'll hum along, because it's a Golden Slipper. It's worth $5 million. You take no prisoners in this race. They'll be humming along. If Blanc de Blanc can find some cover mid-race, we know she'll hit the line well. She's so genuine. She's had a bit of racing, but Michael Freeman's a great trainer, a 2-year-old. So the fact that she's in the field finally, It's a big plus for the Connections, obviously, but they've got a really good filly. He'll be hard to beat.
Yeah, backing up after last week. And, of course, speaking of getting a run through the field, that's what happened with Fireburn last year and Brenton Abdullah. That was a remarkable story. Backing up Cannonball today. What about Cannonball?
Yeah, in the Galaxy. That's a hot race, the
Remark?
Galaxy. Yeah, I do like Remark today. Both Cannonball and Remark have massive drops in weight. Remark coming out of a weight for age race into a handicap, dropped 7 kilos. He wasn't beaten that far in the Challenge Stakes, so I think the form line is there for Remark to be very hard to beat. But Cannonball's got only 50 kilos. We saw him last week. He's a flying machine. He'll be out in front. He'll be leading for a long way. He'll give a great sight with that light weight. So many highlights today. The Galaxy might get lost in the wash a bit, being race 9 after the Golden Slipper, but it's one of the best races of the day.
And those two horses have both become right part of the Everest conversation, don't they?
I think the winner of the Galaxy will be. I know the Connections of Uncommon James are looking towards the Everest. If you win a Group 1 sprint race in Australia these days, the first question asked post-race is, are you an Everest contender? And I think you can give a big tick to every horse in the Galaxy field. Their Connections, if they win, will be looking to sign that piece of paper pretty quickly.
Yeah, as we say, there's Group 1 everywhere you look, 5 races, and there are stories which are going to happen today which will be sort of blown off the front pages because of horses like Animo and the Golden Slipper. What else today? What else tickles your fancy?
Look, I think obviously we mentioned Animo and the George Wright. It's a fascinating race. You've got the Ranvet Stakes, another important scratching this morning, Raise You, one of the internationals coming out. Probably because it's a pretty firmish track today, Tim. It's going to be hot weather and these Europeans aren't used to it. But I think it's really significant to note that William Haggis, the English trainer, has rolled the dice with Dubai Honour, who is a horse who's better suited on wet ground. But the mere fact that William Haggis is happy to run, you've got to include any horse he brings to Sydney, as we saw last week with Protagonist winning. Dubai Honour will be hard to beat. Gold Trip, the Melbourne Cup winners in that field. Moonga, Montefilia won it last year. No one's talking about a great race. And the other Group 1 today is the Rosehill Guineas. James McDonald, the champion jockey, believes Pericles is his best ride today, ahead of Cylinder, ahead of Animo. Now, Pericles won the Autumn Classic in brilliant style at Sandown last start. Another Godolphin favourite in the Group 1s. It could be a big day for the Blue Army. Yeah,
we could see the big blue wave happening. And in Melbourne, the All-Star Mile?
Yeah, the All-Star Mile. And look, Alligator Blood is the favourite, Tim, and after the misfortune that Gay Waterhouse and Adrian Bott had this morning with Red Resistance, they've got Platinum Jubilee and the Golden Slipper, of course, but I hope Alligator Blood can win the All-Star Mile for them. I think he'll lead, Tim. Around the valley, he'll be in the dominating position where he can control the race. He's a terrific horse. He's the one to beat. Watch for I'm Thunderstruck late, but over the mile, Alligator Blood.
Okay. All right, now if someone has got their pencil and their piece of paper ready at home, there's a Ray Thomas special. Is there somewhere in there that might just get that free takeaway Chinese food tonight?
Look, I think Pericles and the Rosehill Guineas, I'm taken by this horse, and the mere fact that James McDonald came out midweek and said he's my best ride on Golden Slipper Day, above Cylinder, above the champion Animo. I think that says it all. He'll be really hard to beat on what's a super day of racing.
All right, well, you've got to go in there and pick up your prize for best dressed. You are always best dressed. Good to see you, Ray.
Thanks so much, Tim. Best of luck today.
Julie?
Oh, Timmy, you're looking pretty sharp yourself. Well, the $5 million Longines Golden Slipper is the world's richest race for 2-year-olds. From the breeders to the strappers to the owners to the jockeys and the trainers, it is a race that changes lives.
And the lights on. We're ready now for the Longines Golden Slipper. Stand by for a start. We're ready. And the 2-year-olds are off. They're off and racing. Rise of the Masses drawn barrier 16, jump well. So did Queen of the Ball on the inside and Sweet Riders right there. Lady Laguna pushing through. Followed then by Dormier, pretty handy, deep out 7 Vales. Then Coolangatta, who's got into a prominent role. Russian Conquest jump well but caught wide. Then She's Extreme from Sevenac. They're followed further back then by Fireburn, who's taking an inside run from Sajardinville.
From the 500 onwards, I just thought, look, I can't win the race and just try and get it comfortable and earn a bit of prize money.
Dormier's right there in third, then Sweet Ride, Seven Vows and the White Cap. Coolangatta in the middle of the ruck, Seminac deeper out, followed then by Russian Conquest, Fireburn and She's Extreme.
Mate, I'd given up the top of the straight.
Coolangatta being called upon, running on. Best of Bordeaux just in front of Dormier.
I knew I was home at the furlong. I just had to get out and we should come around Best of Bordeaux, so this race over.
Coming through is Fireburn with a big run off the fence, and Fireburn charges home and gives Gary Portelli second golden slipper.
This is the greatest sport. You know, there's the highs and lows. You've got to put up with the lows and hope the highs come back. You can see her building going through her revs, and oh mate, what a finish. Unbelievable. She won by 2.5 lengths, easing down. Rebel Dane, unbelievable. Who'd have thought he'd throw a golden slipper winner?
It's the most important race on the Australian racing landscape from a bloodstock and breeding perspective.
If you asked anyone in Coolmore globally, what is the race around the world you'd like to win in 2023, I think everybody would write down the Golden Slipper.
Cylinder arrives at the Golden Slipper having won his last 2 in Sydney. We're very pleased with how he's galloped this morning at Osborne Park, and we think he presents as a rightful favourite in the race, but in what's a very open renewal, and we're excited to have him carrying the Royal Blue.
Yeah, very exciting. She's the only unbeaten horse in the field, so look, we're putting that on the line, but hopefully come Saturday evening she's still unbeaten and a Golden Slipper winner. Look, it's my name on the ticket, but it's, you know, I'm actually just a minuscule part of the big team. There's so many people that are involved with her, and yeah, it just mean a huge amount to all of them.
We've known for a while that we had Lazargo because she won the Sweet Embrace, but also to have gotten Shinzo in last Saturday, which we've only got a little hair of, but it's very exciting. This is a pinnacle race in Australian racing and the world. What an important 2-year-old race to have a filly and a colt. Couldn't be better, I don't think.
Red Resistance we think is a great chance that we own with Sir Owen Glenn. He's drawn barrier 16, but he'll be very fast out of the gates, and I'm sure he'll charge and lead and go forward, and he's a very fast horse, so he's exciting. King's Gambit and Don Corleone have drawn nice and soft, as has Empire of Japan. So all those three have drawn in the top 8, and they all get their chance. Feel very positive going into the race with 4 colts that are in the final field, plus Militarise, all very healthy, all very well, and yeah, it's going to be a great race. I think Cylinder is definitely the horse to beat. I think the colt's form's very strong.
The way the filly's drawn, and obviously Cylinder learning to fly, and Cylinder, they're probably the benchmark horses this preparation as far as the 2-year-old season goes, and I don't think that's going to change leading into the weekend.
Obviously Cylinder, he's knocked off both our chances in their respective sort of lead-up races, so you know, a lot of respect for him. I think he's a very, very talented horse.
Yeah, I think there's a number of horses. Yeah, I thought Red Resistance, you know, he's going to improve off that run the other day. There's loads of good fillies. Cylinder, yeah, he obviously looks, you know, the way he won the other day was very impressive. So it's a very open race, and yeah, I certainly still don't think I'd swap my filly for anything else.
I don't think our next guest would swap that filly for anyone else either. Tom Magnier from Coolmore, good morning to you. It is a big day for the team. It has been a big week as well. How's everyone feeling?
Morning, Julie. Everyone is very excited. We've obviously got 2 horses in the race in Shinzu and Learning to Fly. Both horses were bred and raised at the farm, and I don't think I've ever wanted something as much as I want this today. You know, we have an amazing team on the farm, and they're so dedicated. They're up at the crack of dawn every morning. They never complain. They're enjoying their work. They smile. But, you know, some of them have backed Shinzu at 100-1, and they've looked after these horses. They've broken them in. And, you know, to have King's Gambit in from the farm as well, it's a huge thing for the team. And I've never wanted something so much for our team and for our friends, our owners, everything. And for Annabelle and Chris, you know, they've never won a slipper, and it's you know, we haven't slept the last couple of days dreaming about it.
That is the thing. We spoke about this earlier in the show. It is a life-changing day. Let's start with the filly learning to fly. She is unbeaten, trained by Annabelle Neesham. What a rise Annabelle Neesham has had in her time. Earlier in the week, you personally drew barrier 4. This is a filly that was raised on the farm. I've spoken to people on the farm this week and they're just so excited. What would something like this mean, I suppose, for that connection with Annabelle, but for everyone that's been involved?
I think there'd be the most unbelievable party down on the farm or in the local pub, which would be fantastic. You know, as I said, I just want this for them. And they have put blood, sweat and tears into this, and they're all excited. They're all coming down for the races today. We've got a big bus. They're all on the bus. And I'd say there'd be, you know, obviously being St. Patrick's Day as well, I'd say the Irish sing-songs on the bus on the way home would be second to none.
Well, that narrow win in the Riesling for the filly, what is the latest from Annabelle? Is she expecting some improvement from her today?
Annabelle is very happy with learning to fly, as is Chad. You know, she's had a faultless preparation as such. She's by Justify, which is very exciting, but she's done nothing wrong. And, you know, fair play to Chad. He goes out there every morning to ride her. His dedication to this filly has been top class. Annabelle and their whole team, to Rob, who was obviously, you know, working in Coolmore when Justify came down, and he knows how serious we take that stallion. So it's a fairy tale, really, but they're very, very, very happy with learning to fly. And, you know, I think that as far as the field goes, I think, you know, you could pick 10 horses out of it that could win. And I think whoever gets the best luck in running is going to have a huge opportunity today.
Shinzo now, the colt, Ryan Moore, he has come out from the UK for this ride. What are his thoughts been? I know you were out with him and Chris at the track earlier in the week.
Yeah, Ryan was delighted when he heard that he could come down and ride this horse. He was on the next flight straight away. He sat on the horse on Thursday morning. He came in, he said, wow, we gave him a lovely feel. He said he's going to make an amazing 3-year-old. So again, probably, you know, barrier 1 wasn't ideal, but I think when you look at the statistics, Tommy Smith used to always say that barrier 1 is the best barrier in the Golden Slipper. And I think, you know, if it's a tactical race, I think Ryan has so much experience that he'll be the key to that. But again, Chris and his team have done a great job with this colt. Tommy Berry got off him and said that this is the best colt I've put my leg over in 16 years, you know. So I think that he's got a huge chance. But I think anything he does today, you know, he's going to be an even more special 3-year-old.
Well, barrier 1 is the most successful barrier in the history of the slipper, including last year's winner, Fireburn. That's got to say something.
100%. And Ryan Moore said to me yesterday, he said, you know, if you asked me which barrier I wanted for Shinzo, I'd have told you barrier 1. So you have to be happy with that. But I think there'll be a lot of pace out wide. There'll be a lot of pace early. I think it's going to be a fantastic Golden Slipper. And I think one of the most exciting Golden Slippers we've seen in a long time. As I said, there's a lot of horses there that could win it. And I just hope, you know, the navy blue are there to finish.
You grew up in Ireland, you've been to many racetracks around the world, you've been to all the big occasions. Does Tom Magnier get nervous on a Golden Slipper day like today?
You know, I'd say I've been racing all over the world, and we're very fortunate that we've won a lot of those big races around the world. But I think that today is the most special day for Coolmore because of Justify. We bred both horses on the farm. The guys on the farm put everything, their blood, sweat and tears into these 2 horses. Chris has never won a Golden Slipper. Annabelle's never won a Golden Slipper. Ryan's never won a Golden Slipper, nor has Chad. So it's you know, either horse is a fairy tale. And, you know, I remember when I was 12, you know, or maybe I might go back a bit earlier, when Santa Claus was coming, you wouldn't be able to sleep. I think it was a bit like that last night, but we'll need a lot of luck on the day. But as I said, I would say it'd be one of the most exciting days I've had at a racetrack in my life.
Well, Tom, we really appreciate you making the time to talk to us on such a big occasion. I know there's a Ferrari floating around there as well somewhere, so someone might be celebrating with that this afternoon. We wish you and the team all the very best. We are so excited for you, and thanks again for making the time to chat.
No problem, Julian. I'm sorry that your baby seat wouldn't fit in the back of the Ferrari, so maybe next time.
You and me both, Tom. You and me both. See you soon. Well, stay with us. Coming up on this Golden Slipper Saturday, Arrowfield. Look back at the history and, of course, the significance of the slipper. You are watching Racing Dreams. Welcome back on this Golden Slipper Saturday, a huge day of racing at Rosehill Gardens, 5 Group 1s, but of course, Timmy, it is all about the Golden Slipper glory today.
It is, and it's called Rosehill Gardens for a reason, and a day like today, it is looking, as I mentioned at the top of the show, pretty as a picture. And so much work goes into it, Julie. Of course, the Golden Arch is just over my shoulder here. That is put together for, of course, today, the Golden Slipper, the Golden Eagle, the Golden Rose, the Run to the Rose. And Sarah Smith, who's the leading hand here at Rosehill, has been doing that for over 20 years. There's 1,300 roses in there. 1,300 roses to make it look so spectacular. The whole place here, Sean, we're going to have on the show shortly, who looks after the whole course. They do a fantastic job. They work around the clock. And thankfully this year they've had a little bit of weather go their way, which is good. And the track at the moment is a good 4. So Golden Slipper Day, 5 Group 1s today. But with the way the autumn is, of course, autumn racing, and today is one of the pinnacle days, and of course we have the championships just around the corner, but that also means that the Easter sale isn't far away, and the Broadway act this year of the Easter sale, as they are nearly every year, our wonderful partners and friends at Arrowfield Stud. They have a draft of 68 yearlings this year, and of course it was last year that we saw the sale of a horse called Autumn Ballet, and what a day Autumn Ballet had last Sunday in Canberra.
It's Autumn Ballet in front from the years. 'Tis Invincible, make a call. Autumn Ballet. Autumn Ballet defies history. The first horse to ever win the Black Opal on debut.
Autumn Ballet there, the first stakes winner for the Autumn Sun, John Freer, and here we are at Arrowfield Stud and in the client room, and amazing wall of wonderful horses, including the Autumn Sun, and there he is, of course, Randwick Guineas, Rosehill Guineas. We've got the Rosehill Guineas this week. Big day, wasn't it? Big race win.
Big race win. Autumn Ballet was sensational. So excited to see her win so impressively, and all the more exciting when we bred and sold her sire. The Autumn Sun, he was a fabulous horse, as you mentioned. Did some tremendous wins. Probably should have been unbeaten throughout his career, but just a sensational racehorse, and now emerging as a sensational sire as well.
Well, we've been around a few years now with Racing Dreams, long enough to remember when Autumn Sun was racing, and that Rosehill Guineas, it was a real grinding finish, and John Massaro, I interviewed him, he said, I had to have a cup of tea, I couldn't go out, I was on edge, I was that nervy. But he had a big engine as a racehorse.
Well, he had a massive engine, but he also had a lot of heart as well, and then that was the day that he had to sort of dig deep. It was a very heavy track, which he didn't appreciate, but he found a way to do it, and it's like great sportsmen, great horses. They find a way when it's tough.
Slipper Day, of course. I've got to talk about this horse here, Esther Jubb. That was an amazing win. I think Michael Hawkes or Wayne Hawkes, or one of them, is still getting physio on their back after one of them jumped on each other.
It was a great excitement for the Hawkes camp. They did a tremendous job training her. Funnily enough, she was in the same draft as the Autumn Sun. We sold them both at the Easter in 2017. It was the last year at the old Newmarket complex. But she was a magnificent filly. She made a lot of money. She made 1.7 million, I think, at the sales, but she was a spectacular filly, and what a great day it was when she won the slipper from the outside barrier. Tremendous ride by Brenton Abdullah.
what about the mighty, mighty Schnitzel? The Schnitzel sprinkled across this wall and all through the racing world, of course, now the sire of sires with Russian Revolution, and Shinzo, a real chance in the Golden Slipper.
Absolutely. Impressive performance. Ryan Moore's coming out to ride him. He's out of a great mare in Samaretti, but Schnitzel just continues to do it year after year. And his sons now look like they're going to be great sires as well. You've got Seamus Award in the top 10, and Russian Revolution is an emerging horse as well. He looks like he could be a properly good stallion. So Schnitzel, the blood's just going to live on forever.
And you were here, and we were talking before off camera, you were here in those very, very early years, the first crop of Schnitzels.
Yeah, I started with the first crop of the Schnitzels, so I've sort of been at Arrowfield through that period of time. It's been a great ride, and he's been a wonderful horse. I mean, he's been tremendous for the farm, and everybody here loves him. He's talking about racing dreams. He's sort of, made so many dreams come true for so many people in the thoroughbred industry, and including many of us here at Arrowfield.
I think you've just made our promo reel, John, and it must be just wonderful wrapping it up that you're a part of history. I know how much you love the industry, and to be a part of history in this place for well over a decade must be a good feeling when you get up to go to work every day.
Well, it's exciting to sort of see when you see these horses. They've all got a story. There's some fabulous horses here.
Castelvecchio.
Yeah, they've all got a story, and they've all got a story that we remember. And Autumn Ballet in particular, like she went through the yearling sale here last year. Who knows where she'll finish up, but she might finish right at the very top of the tree. And they're fond memories, and it's great to have the opportunity to work with horses of this calibre. I think everybody that's in the industry aspires to that sort of thing, so it's just a delight to be here.
John Freer, and of course had some pace himself, just missed out on the Munich Olympics back in 1972. It was great to catch up with him, and we'll be back up at Arrowfield this week. Actually, we're going to talk to Gai Waterhouse. It is one of my favourite places anywhere in the world, and the surname Massara, of course, one of the very, very famous names of this industry, as are the surnames of our next two guests. Two prominent people in two prominent families. Jules?
That's right. Joining us now is John Ingham and Inglis Deputy Chairman Arthur Inglis. Hello to you, gentlemen.
Hello, Julie.
Hello, Julie.
Well, John, first of all, I want to start with you. A big day today, of course, Golden Slipper Day, and a great chance with Shinzo.
Yes, look, he got into the race last week, and yeah, very excited. Barrier 1, so fingers crossed. We've got a ticket to the big dance. So.
Arthur, of course,
drew that barrier.
And that's right. We're just looking at vision of that now. I don't know if you know this, John, but Barrier 1, if you look back at the history of the slipper, that is the most successful barrier in slipper history.
Yes, 9 wins, I think, 8 or 9, and last year's winner Fireburn, if I'm not mistaken.
You are correct indeed. So what was the reception from your fellow owners once you drew that number out of the barrel? There's a bit of a smile on your face.
They were pretty happy, yeah. Tom Magny was there, and he drew, I drew the 1 and he drew 4 for Learning to Fly. So it was a pretty happy camp all around.
And Arthur, of course, the Inglis graduates are well represented today, including that name, the unbeaten filly Learning to Fly.
Yes, indeed. She'll be one of our standard bearers, if you like, Julie. And we'll all be cheering her home. And good advertisement for our Easter sale, having been a graduate of that sale last year. Yeah.
We will get to the Easter sales in just a moment. We're just watching her come home now. There, $900,000 was that purchase at the Easter sales. I mean, Arthur, Annabelle Neesham is doing such an incredible job with this filly. She is unbeaten, and of course she will ride in those Coolmore colours today. It could be something pretty special.
It would be, yes. It would be a great advertisement for our sale. We've had plenty of slipper winners in the past, but it's great to have another graduate, and also for her sire, Justify. I think there's been a huge investment by Coolmore
not only in the sire but the mares going to him, and it'd be great acknowledgement of that investment by them and their confidence in the horse.
John, it could also really be a big moment for Chris Waller with Shinzo, and he also has Lazargo in this year's slipper as well.
Yes. Yeah, no, look, it'd be a great moment for him. He hasn't won a slipper yet, so it's kind of the last of the majors he's trying to knock off. So, yeah, I think he'd be happy to get that one into the cupboard and the monkey off his back, so to speak.
Leaving no stone unturned either, because of course Ryan Moore has made the journey from the UK for today's race. That must fill you with a lot of confidence.
Yes, look, Ryan rode Adelaide for us to win a Cox Plate many years ago before Winks came along, and yes, he's a great rider, and as well he travels, he does his homework, so he's had a look at the horse and he's all ready to go.
It's so nice to see the internationals making it back here too for these big carnivals. Arthur, the Easter yearling sale is just around the corner. It's hard to believe it's that time of year already. Siblings to Learning to Fly and King's Gambit will be up for auction this Easter.
Yes, that's right, and of course plenty of others in a star-studded catalogue out of a lot of Group 1 winners and relations to, well, let's just mention Very Elegant, full and plenty more, yeah. So you know, the catalogue is you know, a page turner as always is. We've got the best of the best.
Arthur, quickly as well, this year also marks the second annual Inglis Sunday Lunch. I know it was well received last year, and it's in support of a wonderful cause.
It is. You might say two causes. It's well, but certainly there's a recently announced collaboration between the Victor Chang Institute and the Ingham Institute in their world-leading cardiac research, and funds raised will go towards that collaboration of further research. And as you mentioned, it's during a very exciting week for racing and breeding. For the world, I suppose the world's eyes are on Sydney for the championships. The day after Derby and Doncaster Day, we have our lunch, and it's the day before our 118th Easter yearling sale.
John, before I let you go, we know that Debbie Capetis is a very superstitious lady. Is that running in the family? Is that a family trait?
Yeah, that is definitely a family trait from my mother, my father, and all of the family are superstitious.
And I've got to ask the question, it has been asked all week long. John, who do you think is the horse to beat in today's Golden Slipper?
Look, I think Learning to Fly and Cylinder are probably the two, and Steel City looked pretty good last week, winning as well as the third. But the slipper can always throw up unknowns.
Arthur, what are your thoughts?
Oh, well, I'm biased, of course, the horses we sold, but as I've mentioned, Learning to Fly will be getting our cheering.
Gentlemen, so lovely to see you. Thank you so much for making the time today. We'll see you soon. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, Julie.
Welcome back. You're watching Racing Dreams on a very big day of racing here in Sydney. 5 Group 1s at Rose Hill Gardens, of course, headlined by the $2 million Golden Slipper. That's where we find Timmy Gilbert this morning. I tell you what, the team out there, they've been so busy, Tim, and it looks sensational.
Absolutely, and I actually just got a waft of some lovely meat pies, Julie, so I'll try and cryovac a few and bring them back to you a little later on in the day. But the hardest working person, or the hardest working team, of course, is the team of Sean Patterson, who's the racecourse manager here at Rose Hill Gardens, and he joins me now. How are you, Sean?
I'm very well, thank you.
So the day started at 3:30 this morning. When does it finish?
Yeah, look, probably about 8 o'clock tonight.
A lot easier this year, though. Easier in the sense of the weather, because you were like a drowned rat last year. Unfortunately, the race day was cancelled. We had to move it forward.
Yeah, look, it's nice to have a nice prep. You know, unseasonable weather, but we'll take it. But it's given us a great opportunity to have a great prep come into this carnival.
Well, tell us about the track. Good 4, chance of a good 3?
Yeah, look, we're a good 4. Our Peno came out at 5.20. It's on the top side. It's right between the 4 and the 5, just giving it a little bit extra moisture to get through the hot day.
I mentioned before Sarah Smith, leading hand in the Gardens, does a fantastic job. 1,300 roses going to make the arch, and that looks fantastic, as does the whole course. How many staff and how much time goes into this?
Yeah, look, we've got 25 staff here at Rosehill. That's from early morning track work to gardens to tracks teams. Look, we start preparing 6 months out, leading into a major renovation. Obviously, autumn is traditionally wet, so we always prepare for the track to handle that moisture. But yeah, look, there's a lot of hard days and times that go into it. Obviously, the last couple of weeks with those hotter conditions has been tricky, but look, we're really happy where we sit.
Good renovation took place at the back end of last year.
Yeah, we were able to give the track a sand groove, which is a major reno. That just helps with the drainage and the consistency of the track. So really happy with the leading and how the track is raced, and I expected the race very well today.
They'd be all very proud, wouldn't they, your team, when they look around and seeing it look look postcard-like with all the flowers and everything else that makes this place look beautiful, the lake over the back.
Yeah, look, the team do a tremendous job. I can't do anything without my team. A lot of these guys have been here for a long time, seen a lot of golden slippers, more than I have seen. They take a lot of pride in the industry. They take a lot of pride in racing, and they love it, and it reflects in what they do.
What are you going to do tomorrow?
I will be turning the phone off and having a sleep.
Do not disturb on Sean's phone. And the guys, will they all be trackside to watch the big one, the slipper? Five Group 1s today. It's a remarkable day of racing.
Yeah, definitely. We've spoken to the team this morning, as we do every morning,
Yeah.
giving them a bit of the pump up and, just let them know that the job they have done is first class. And we've said, come and watch the race. This is what we worked for, and we want you guys to enjoy it.
Yeah, it's grand final day. Well, congratulations, Sean. You've done a fantastic job. Pass that on to all of the team, and we'll catch up with you real soon.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, it is Golden Slipper Day, and a little later this afternoon, either a filly or a colt will make a life-changing moment for many, many people. Someone that will be watching very, very closely is the owner of Newgate Farm, and I caught up with Henry Field for Racing Dreams. So Henry Field, the richest 2-year-old race in the world. It's always exciting, of course, the Autumn Racing Carnival in Sydney, and Newgate Farm again has a big footprint.
Tim, very exciting, very exciting. It's a race that we target. It's a race that a lot of our business is set around. Such an important race for the Australian breeding industry, in fact the international breeding industry. And lucky enough to have 4 runners that we have ownership in the race, plus 4 runners that we raised on the farm, plus a number of runners by the Newgate Stallion, so we're very excited.
One of those Newgate Stallions is Extreme Choice, and of course Don Corleone is in the field, and this here is probably Extreme Choice's #1 yearling at the moment.
Well, this is probably Extreme Choice's star colt for the Easter yearling sale. A beautiful Extreme Choice colt out of a mare called Vedetta. Extreme Choice is statistically the best stallion in Australia, if not the world. He had Espiona win a Group 1 last Saturday in the Coolmore Classic.
Chris Waller was very happy.
Chris Waller was very happy. He's already signed a Golden Slipper winner in Stay Inside, and he's got one of the live chances in today's Golden Slipper, Don Corleone. So this horse, if he can get the Slipper winner today with Don Corleone, he's already a very valuable colt, but if he was to win the Slipper on Saturday, his value would skyrocket even further.
Let's go through it, because Stay Inside now stands here as a stallion. You've also got a Capitalist, you've also got a Russian Revolution, you've got other horses that were raised on the farm. Go through it for us.
Well, it's a big day for us. So we've got 4 horses in the Slipper that we own a part of, which are Red Resistance with Sir Owen Glenn, and our Colt Syndicate we have Empire of Japan, King's Gambit, and also Don Corleone. So it's a quarter of the field that the farm owns a part of. Secondly, we had 4 horses raised on our property, which is a huge achievement by our team to raise so many horses to get into the Golden Slipper. Plus, we've got a number of horses in the race sired by Newgate Stallions, Lazargo, as you said, owned by the Capitas family, Red Resistance by Russian Revolution, Don Corleone by Extreme Choice, etc. So it's a big day for us. It's such an important race. It really defines the breeding industry in many ways in this country. The Golden Slipper has been a race that's had so many exceptional stallions come out of it. So any colt that can win the Golden Slipper is the most valuable commodity in Australian bloodstock.
Do you have a favourite? Can you afford to have favourites, Henry, in your position? It's difficult when you've got tentacles everywhere.
It's funny. We've been fortunate enough to be in the ownership of 2 slipper winners, and one was Capitalist, obviously with James Harron, and one was Stay Inside with the Freedmans and a group of their crew. In both occasions, we had multiple runners, and in both occasions, the horse I liked in the race, I thought Extreme Choice would win Capitalist Slipper, and I thought Profiteer would win Stay Inside Slipper. So it's very hard to pick, but I can tell you, if one of them can get home, we'll be the happiest people on earth. And it's such a hard race to win. I think that's interesting because just to qualify in the Golden Slipper is so difficult. You need a horse with precocity, ability, toughness, soundness, mentally and physically. So just to qualify is a great achievement. Then the horse that's got the ability or the sheer talent to win it, well, that's a phenomenal horse. And I think all those attributes are really key ingredients to what make good stallions.
But Capitalist, the Magic Millions winners, drawn clear in the slipper. Yankee Rose home in a second, but Capitalist takes it out. Capitalist by a half length to Yankee Rose.
There's so much at stake. Whilst it's only a minute and 10 seconds, the Golden Slipper, it can change the fortunes of so many horses and so many people, and that's what makes it so exciting.
Welcome back. You're watching Racing Dreams on this Golden Slipper Saturday. My pen is at the ready. My paper is at the ready. I'm all ears for these tips today, Timmy.
Absolutely, Jules. The male model from Miranda has made his way into the Golden West. Brad Gray, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thank you, Tim. How are you?
Very good. Now, Red Resistance out of the Golden Slipper. This changes everything.
Doesn't it what? Yeah, it changes not only the key contender, because he was obviously a single figure odds chance, but also the speed map. So we've lost our designated leader. What does that mean? Does it mean like a horse like Steel City all of a sudden comes across and leads this field? I think if you like Cylinder, doesn't change too much for him. He's just going to park up in behind and get a lovely smother. But Golden Slipper, there's a whiff in the air, isn't there? I know you were saying there was a smell of meat pies in the air before. That's the smell of Golden Slipper. So what a day's racing. 5 Group 1s, I can't wait.
Yeah, that was a hint to someone to bring some pies out, but they obviously have the belief that I don't need them. Cylinder, look, it's almost impossible to say anything's a good thing in the Golden Slipper, but it's come right in, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has. He's $3 last time I looked. So if there was a knock on him, it was only his price, and I guess now even more so. So when you look at a profile of a horse that could potentially win a Golden Slipper, he fits it perfectly, doesn't he? He's still on an upward spiral. He's lightly raced. He hasn't had a grand final. A lot of these horses coming through a Blue Diamond or a lead-up where they had to win to get in. He hasn't had that. James Cummings has had that luxury of just plotting his pathway through. Cherry on top, his map, he just gets the perfect draw, and you've got James McDonald in the saddle. So as far as negatives, there simply aren't any.
Could be a blue wave today. Rosehill Guineas, let's have a look at that.
Yeah, so for me, I like Lindemann here.
Well,
so
Lindemann,
Chris Waller trained, Nashville to do the steering. So he's a horse that jumped out of the ground this time back, and he looks to get a pretty easy lead on top of the speed. And when you pair Nash with a likely leader that gets ownership, it's a pretty dangerous combination. So I loved his run in the Randwick Guineas. The Randwick Guineas has provided 14 of the past 20 Rosehill Guineas winners. So it is the right kind of lead up. And if he does get favours up on top, I think Pericles is going to have his work cut out in terms of running him down.
Ranvit's pretty special today.
Yeah, it is. So Ranvit, I've gone Montefilia there. So you rewind 12 months ago, she was something special, wasn't she? So she produced a career best that day. That was when she beat Very Elegant, who was a $1.24 favourite. Can she reproduce something similar to that? Well, you go back to a Chipping Norton run this time back, and it was very similar to the run that she produced 12 months ago. So dare I suggest that she's right on par to repeat that win. And if she repeats that performance, I don't think they'll beat her, and she's $6.50.
Horse just a few years ago right here, and it wasn't that long ago at all, came second in the Golden Slipper. His name is Animo.
He is, and I think he might get rolled today.
Wow, Brad Gray.
Yeah. I think if today's the day he's going to get beaten.
That's not going to plan.
No, it isn't. It's not part of the script, is it? But they say if you're going to come for the king, make sure you don't miss. And I think Artorias, they would not be here, the Freedmans, if they didn't think they could beat him.
Anthony Freedman, yeah.
Yep. If they didn't think they could beat him, they wouldn't be here. Drawn barrier 1, I think he punches up into a reasonably prominent position for him. And Animo, he's drawn wide, and is it as simple as him coming across and sitting outside the lead? I don't think so. I think his rivals have cottoned on to the fact now that they can't just let him amble across, smoke the pipe, and go bang. I think they have to ride with some intent, and if one horse punches up, all of a sudden he's 3 wide and working. I know he's a very good horse, but in the context of him being $1.60, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see a bit of an upset here today with Artorias, and we know how fantastic he was in the Canterbury Guineas.
All right, well, tell us the rest of your tips, because people do have their piece of paper and pencil, like Julie Snook in the studio.
Yeah, so the Galaxy is the one Group 1 we haven't touched on yet. I thought it was a good roughie there, Maria Mia for Joe Pride, right down in the weights, and she was dominant in the Expressway. A little bit flat last start, but that's why we're getting $10. Best bet for me comes up in the lucky last, Laserpan for Chris Muntz. Hugh Bowman does the steering. It's always a little bit exciting when you've got a best bet in the last, you can blast out, can't you? So she's been well backed. I love the way that she's trialled this time back. And her best roughie for me was race 5, Insurrection. Straight to the front, catch me if you can. He's returned really well, and he's a dead set dry tracker. So he gets that today with this sun blazing down.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And we've been talking about the Golden Slipper and talking about the life-changing element to it, which it happens every year, particularly if we see a colt win. The whole world changes for that horse and everyone around it.
Yeah, it's crazy. Isn't it? One win in one race can just set you up, not only if you're an owner, if you're a trainer, it puts you on the radar, of course, and even a jockey. So it's not to say that we couldn't see a little fairy tale unfold again today.
How do you think the track will go? We just spoke to Sean, a good 4 with a possibility of getting into a good 3. It's a little warmer and it's a little windier than he expected.
Yeah, it probably depends over the next couple of hours how much sun we get, because before I came on air, there was a bit of cloud coverage. That seems to be gone now. So as this track dries out, I think it's going to be harder to make ground. We do see Rosehill, when it gets on the firm side, generally it favours those horses that can make their own luck on top of the speed. And it's not an easy track to make that wide looping run and sustain it. So you can come through them. But as far as being on speed, I think that's where you want to be today. So if you're doing your form, focus on those horses that can make their own luck.
OK, so if I found $5 in my jacket pocket that was just sitting there and I said, Brad, here's $2.50 each way, which horse today?
I'm sure it'll be a 50.
No, it might be 5. Might be 5. Kids go through my jackets.
No, of course they do. Of course they do. $5, we go Playpan in the last.
OK.
Yep, I think she's the way to get out.
Would you put it on the nose?
Yep, $5 on the nose. We're not here to get our money back. We're here to win.
There was talk of you and I sharing a pie last week. I haven't seen any side of that pie, but...
I've eaten them all already, unfortunately.
Oh, well, we're off soon. I'll go and shout you one. You can make it your second.
Deal.
The male model from Miranda. Brad Gray, thank you.
No dramas. Thanks, guys.
Julie, what a powerful hour that has been. Golden Slipper today. I do think Cylinder's a good thing. I really do. At $3, the Blue Wave expected here at Golden Slipper Day.
A huge day ahead indeed. Thank you very much, gents. And thank you, of course, also to our great sponsors who make this program of ours possible, Racing New South Wales and the team at Arrowfield. 5 Group 1s at Rosehill Gardens today. You don't want to miss it. Headlined by the Golden Slipper. We'll see you next time on Racing Dreams.